Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back with another live stream of Hearthstone. Today is Friday, February 16th. We're starting a little late today because I was streaming the new attempt at doing something different now that YouTube is gonna take all the ads off my channel. Different way to monetize it. Looking at the Steam Lunar New Year sale and trying to go through my wish list and show which games I actually do kind of want and how I shop and all of that. Very experimental, very rough in my opinion. I don't know how to make a video like that and it be useful to somebody who's thinking about shopping for themselves while also having an underlying tone of this is an advertisement, this is me e-bagging. It was 3 hours of me going through my wish list, and some of that certainly was probably 40 minutes of me just going through what games I already have, and that drastically changes what is offered to you. Right now we need a druid or rogue victory, and if I can get anybody to play me, there we go. Let's do a challenge and see if he'll accept for 80. He will accept, thank goodness. Alright, so Pirate, Rogue, play. Go. So check out, maybe fast forward through that video that I live streamed. Some people came on and said a few things. They called me out on my nearly 17,000 hours on time clickers. Which is because I've just got that game running all the time when I'm not recording or doing anything else, trying to get all the last one achievement on it, which is practically impossible, obviously, not without really focusing and playing the game. So the first 40 minutes of that stream was me going through all the games I have, and then we start going down the new features of the wish list, which I guess we wouldn't have to do in future versions of this. These ads are conveniently not going to happen very often because the Steam thing is just not going to happen that very often. I could potentially expand it to the humble bundles, and then once a month there might be a very short, I don't even know how short it would be. Like the humble bundle, if I was to make an e-begging thing on every new humble bundle, it would be barely a 10-minute video. It would also, I suppose, give me a reason to not go through the humble bundles on these live streams when they come up. But that's kind of the only time I would want to do it, is humble bundle sales and Steam sales. And as far as Steam, as far as I know, there will be the May the 4th be with you sale, one assumes. And then there's the summer sale, and that's kind of it. It doesn't seem like there was anything for Valentine's Day, because it's kind of hard for video game stores to have Valentine's Day sales because there's not that many romance games that are really romance and not just dating simulators / forced sex games. And those games don't typically ever go on sale. So yeah, I can't think of anything else until the summer sale. So year round there'd probably be one for the Lunar New Year, one for the May the 4th be with you, one for the summer, one for the like Halloween, October sale if there is one. Sometimes they don't even have sales on Steam, so there's something to talk there. It'll be pretty repetitive too. There's a lot of things I don't understand or know about that. Steam. Like, it might be possible and easier to get people to buy Steam cards and give me the code for the Steam card credit, and then that would just finance directly in money so that they then don't have to pay. A lot of it also just boils down to if somebody has any passion for a game and they want to see me cover it, whether it's because they think I'll enjoy it or because they think I'll not enjoy it or have something interesting to say, like that's more of a good motivator. But I would like to try and influence that and not just have people gifting me random games that, like, if everybody gifted me Call of Duty games, that would be very, very hard for me to motivate myself to actually play Call of Duty games. I could do one, certainly, but 2 or 3. Like, I'm having trouble even justifying continuing going down the path with the Assassin's Creed games with Revelations. Revelations is such a bad, short, cheap effort there in the series. There's other factors certainly too that as I was going through the wish list, you spend a lot of time seeing a lot of games for 50 cents, and you spend very little time, relatively speaking, talking about the games that are just at the top but are the AAA games. For instance, Hellblade: Sesuna's Sacrifice is a great example of a game. Cuphead is a great example of a game that are relatively new, and because they're relatively new, they're not actually at any real discount. 10% at most. So since we started late tonight, we don't have... I'm not going to try to do a ton of stuff. In fact, I may just play some stuff off screen tomorrow to try and accomplish things. So I guess that means I need to move on and try and get... Let's see, I have no reason to play him again, so I'll give him the gold and move on so I can play... Yeah, we'll play that, yeah. Let's do a death rattle deck on wild. So, ideally, I guess I'm going to go through the news. I am very, very open to suggestions on those sales things. And I really don't have a way to re-promote them as much as possible. But I guess once the sale is gone, and the sale only lasts a week or so, there's really no way to re-promote that footage anyways. I ran into an issue where I had to replace all the tires on my car, which cost me extra money that I wasn't expecting on spending, and because of that, I'm really not in a position to buy any games, so I'm almost certainly skipping this entire expansion, this entire sale. I also need to do a lot of work. I need to get games that are free to play into the fall list, games I'm not interested in actually owning out of the list, and I need to look at all the visual novel games and see if they have English voice acting and either keep them in the list or move them to the following list. The new wishlist way things are laid out are slightly helpful, but there's still some issues with Steam. Some buttons are missing that I'd like to have. But that's enough talking about that. Let's start with the video game news. Try to keep this quick. Assassin's Creed Origins apparently has a new $500 figurine. You can get an official figurine featuring the 3 ancient Egyptian immortal deities.
I'm warning you.
And these figurines look alright, sure, but it's 1.5 kilograms and it's made of resin and brass. I want to see the scale. There's a video here. Just to, they're busts effectively, and they're sitting on a stand, and the stand itself is kind of the only thing with the Assassin's Creed logo on it. They're actually kind of small for what you'd normally expect from a bust. It looks like they might have been scaled down a little bit to fit on a standard height bookshelf. They come in a box with cutout foam, which I assume they're not that sturdy. They're not interesting looking though. It's just like black animal creatures in blue and goldish armor. There's only 100 units apparently that they're making. So only 100 figurines for $500. You would be a fool to spend your money on something like this.
This might sting.
So more and more we see in the video game industry where people, they try to make more money by not even making the game. And this is really a great example of that. It's like the people who are making these figurines are not the video game programmers. They're not the audio creators. They're not the painters. They're not anybody that probably worked in it at all. They're just some company they hired to make some figurines. The figurines look like they probably cost no more than $25 to make. If they're selling 100 of them, maybe you could bump it up to $40 or $50. And for $50, I would pay that much. But they're asking for 10 times that, $500. So forget that. Closing that tab. There is a GTA 5 mod that brings San Andreas gang warfare to the modern day Los Santos. This doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But I imagine what this is it's taking a element that was in GTA San Andreas and was left out of Los Santos, which is the area of the more recent game.
Trust me.
Am I reading this right? Or maybe it's a backporting of a feature that is in GTA 5.
Nothing scares me.
Let's see.
Except mice.
Which one has happened first? GTA 5 or San Andreas? Wish these things were numbered so we could keep these things in order.
This might sting.
Well, so if you understand what this mod is doing, I guess it's for you. Maybe. Like, honestly though, if they took out a feature in GTA 5 that was in a previous version of the game, which is what I'm suspecting, that's what the case is here. They probably took it out for a decent reason. It didn't add anything to GTA. GTA has become, from an outsider's perspective like mine, since I haven't played any of the games, it feels like it's become a very open world sandbox style game designed around getting out of the player's way so that the player can do whatever they want. If there are gangs running around shooting at each other and potentially shooting at you, and you get wasted and have to lose some money and walk out of a hospital, which is, I believe, how that game works, then whatever you were trying to accomplish just got interrupted by a system that you don't even really care about. Let's do that one. That one.
Job's done.
And that didn't work. The Dreamcast memory unit emulator is going to be added to Libretto. I mispronounce that all the time, don't I? The Dreamcast memory unit was kind of a cool idea. It was like a handheld LCD screen game that connected and acted as the memory unit of the Dreamcast. So, for instance, you could put something like a Tamagotchi into your memory unit, walk around with just the memory unit because it has buttons and a control D-pad and everything, and you could play all day on the virtual memory unit and then go back home and play the memory unit back into your Dreamcast and connect things back. It wasn't really implemented too well, but the idea is cool. It would be effectively the equivalent of a game where you playing something on a PS4 or an Xbox One, and then you download the character to your cell phone, probably through the internet now, one would assume, and let's see, destroy one random minion. We've got to lower our odds. Yeah.
Here we go.
Do this. Do this. Do this. Do this.
Job's done.
So that coming to a more accessible emulator of that is kind of cool. Sadly, you would probably have to have custom homebrew software to implement it nowadays. With the next Pokemon game being probably on the Switch, it would be nice if there was a Pokemon Go integration into something like that. I'm not certain that will actually happen, but it would be nice. This. I'm gonna lose.
Here we go.
PC Gamer has an article that goes, for some reason Atari is moving into cryptocurrency now. Get ready for the Pong token. When you see a company move into cryptocurrency, you know that company has no idea what they're doing and they're just trying to make money through stock manipulation, effectively. Atari is not the Atari that it was. That company's long since been bankrupt a few times, I think, and this is just somebody who bought the name out of bankruptcy. And they were talking about making an Atari console. I don't know if they have completely stopped that idea. It wasn't like an Atari Mini, though. Like, that's what they should have done, is as soon as you got word that there was a Nintendo Mini, come out with an Atari Mini, have all, what is it, like 2,200 Atari games that were created, all of those that you could actually sell again on that Mini and see if you could get some money out of it. You still probably wouldn't. But you still wouldn't get very many people to buy an Atari, but there'd be some people that would maybe buy a nice looking Atari console to put on their shelves, and you know, they might even save themselves some money if they just made Atari console looking computer cases to put in Raspberry Pis or other boards like that, or even a mini ITX board. That would actually look rather nice, and I'm sure people have done custom builds like that. Why not do an official build? Here at the end of the article at the bottom it says, unfortunately Atari's out of nowhere plan for the crowdfunded Atari retro gaming console remains stalled. The launch of the Indiegogo campaign was halted in December just before it was set to go live, and the Atari Box website is now down. So they didn't even start the Indiegogo campaign. That's some craziness. Well, Atari's going to be bankrupt in a year, you can almost guarantee. Let's see. Is there anything in this article worth talking about? I don't think so, no. So we'll skip that. I have a shamefully large amount of anime, visual novel, and sex games on my wish list, by the way. Like, if anything, going through that and knowing people are watching me live, looking at all those things, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to really go through this and not be so turned. Like, every time I see an anime girl in the game, that visual appeal is enough to get it to a wish list. It's usually not enough to actually get me to buy it, but I need to raise my standards to only the really good anime sex game, anime girl sex games, dating simulators, and visual novels. Don't worry, they're not going anywhere. I'll always cover, or at least talk about a few, but I don't want to flood my library nor my channel with them, particularly since YouTube hates them. Like, I really came to that revelation, and I hadn't really been paying enough attention to it. Like, if I put out a game with anime girls in the thumbnails, or they show up in the game at any point, there is a much higher chance of YouTube demonetizing that video for no other reason than just that. And that seems a little biased, and like their algorithm needs an overhaul. Moving on though, here's another anime game, the Caligula Effect Overdose and the Caligula Effect Anime have a news broadcast, latest news broadcast set for February 23rd. It will air at 2200 Japanese Standard Time, so that would be 10 o'clock in the evening, February 23rd.
Hey, you want to buy a funnel cake?
Don't touch the air.
Just go ahead and kill this guy. So we can expect more information. The Overdose is due for the PS4 May 17th in Japan, and the anime will begin in April. So it seems like the anime hasn't even started airing, which explains a little bit. Like, I have been kind of confused as far as why this game seems like it's tied into something, but I haven't heard what this tied in thing is. Like, I've never heard of the Caligula Effect.
Don't touch the air. Buy one.
Here we go.
I've heard some speculation that Caligula wasn't as bad as as he may have sounded, or a lot of what's said about him is actually made up hearsay. But whatever, that doesn't have anything to do with video games. Next Saturday, February the 24th, the National Video Game Museum in Frisco, Texas will celebrate Fighting February between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. A range of systems spanning the decades tournaments are going to be happening, with ground games and prizes to be TBD, to be decided, I guess. Fun guaranteed. So are they giving away prizes or not? Gosh, doesn't seem like they're super organized there. You should know at least a week in advance whether you're giving away prizes or not. So if you live near there and you wanted to do probably not anything professional level as far as fighting games, like this isn't an Evo, but it might be a good beginning to working your way to playing something like Evo. That's something to consider. And it may be that the tournaments aren't all fighting games too, like Evo. Tournaments every hour on the hour, so how long do they think a tournament goes?
Here we go.
It really feels like they're not expecting too many people to show up there, so I imagine. This is being retweeted by the Let's Play Gaming Expo, which is a convention of some sort. Let's see, when is their expo happening now? Their sidebar on Twitter says it's the premier interactive gaming convention celebrating all things games, be it board, card, and video. Let's see. It joined Twitter in 2014. And they're calling it Fight Night at the Museum, which is kind of an... Okay, the Gaming Expo itself is July 27th to 29th, which is 3 days before.
Witness me!
And that's at the Irving Convention Center in Irving, Texas. Irving and Frisco aren't considerably far apart from each other. So if you're in that area, that area that is slowly growing as a center for gaming, somewhat because of Gearbox alone, that'll be interesting. Do we have another rogue thing to try? That didn't work. Let's try this custom rogue. Next article, PC Gamer has an article. Intel is facing 32 lawsuits over Meltdown and Spectre CPU vulnerabilities. I imagine those 32 lawsuits will get merged into a class action suit that will see us all getting extended service, promises for more updates, things like that. I'll be very surprised if there's any money going to anybody but the lawyers. That's just not how things work, you know. Like, we're not all getting new CPUs that are better or anything like that. Rock Paper Shotgun has a article called Spawn Point: The Best JRPGs for Total Beginners. Let's go through here and see what games they recommend.
The pleasure is mine.
Well, First of all, there's a recommendation. If you don't like grinding, try Recenter in Item Shop's Tale, which turns JRPG conventions on its head by having you play as the shopkeeper. Let's do that.
A tango?
So I think you're probably breaking what you're promising in the first move with this recommendation, because if you're not at least moving the player to actually playing the grindy JRPG elements, then you've got to find some kind of JRPG that doesn't have those elements, and that's going to be hard.
There once was a man from Gilneas. Job's done.
Let's see what else they recommend. Here, if you don't want turn-based or random battles, they recommend Tales for Symphosia. It's a pretty traditional. Let's see. It's got a real-time combat system, and you only have to worry about controlling the main character. You can pause the action to issue specific commands or change your equipment too. But if you want something newer, you could play Tales of Berseria, which is the latest game in the series for the Tales of Symphonia series. But for beginners, they're recommending I Am Setsuna.
So many options.
Let's make sure we're still playing here. This, that, and play that, and
Here
kill
we
that.
go.
Let's see. They're also recommending Chrono Trigger, but it isn't available on Steam or anywhere else yet. And then they're saying if you decide to not have turn-based, I don't know why you'd specifically not want turn-based in a game. You're better off doing turn-based than you are trying to do real time. They're saying try Final Fantasy IX or Final Fantasy VIII. So, well, no, they're saying Final Fantasy IX. Or Final Fantasy X. Or Valkyria Chronicles. Valkyria Chronicles. So, there is a list of some pretty recognizable games, except for one, which was the first one recommended, and that was let's go do this.
Yeah,
This.
beat it.
This.
Here we go.
So Recator, an Item Shop's Tale, was really the only one there that comes out of nowhere. All the other games are something I've heard of before, And this came out in 2010, so I really doubt that they're just promoting that one game and writing an article around the other games. So it's interesting. And I hate how Rock Paper Shotgun, they link the name of every game they're talking about, but then they do it in a way that you'll only click on the link to end up in a different article that they'd written about that game, instead of linking to either the game's website or linking to well, here one of them they link to Wikipedia, but like, they're not linking to a storefront, which I guess means we know they don't have affiliate links, but maybe they were paid to write about Valkyria Chronicles, but that's a 2014 game too, so I keep looking to see if there might be some level of reason why they'd write an article like this that you wouldn't immediately assume. I'm not seeing it. Moving on, Gamma Sutra has an article called Making a Video Game Cover That Doesn't Suck. And it's probably... there's some things here. This might be a good article, this might be a bad article. I'm seeing a lot of video game covers right now as examples of having too many characters on the cover. There's no less than 7-8 people on the cover of a game called Conception 2. There's 4 people in a giant sword on Arc Rise Fantasia. There's, oh god, there's like 11 people on Stella's Glow. Persona 5 on the other hand has, let's see, 8 people and a cat creature and a demon on Persona 5. So it seems to be pretty standard that you do have a lot of games, a lot of characters on games like that. It seems like a very Japanese thing to do too. So we've got to show off all the characters one more time. Let's try a druid deck. Should just be a play on casual, frankly. Save myself some time. I'm kind of just scrolling down this article and looking at the pictures and not reading the article. Here they're talking about cover art for albums, like CDs, musics, and showing off the cover art for some of that.
You asked for it.
I must protect the wild.
Maybe it is a good idea to have a bunch of characters on a cover. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I guess it is, because every single cover thing in this has tons of people in it. Here at the end, let's see what they were saying, since I was just... It says, the lesson of the day is to, and this is all stricken through, as in we wanted to say this, but we really didn't. Steal the ideas of great artists and then write gigantic article presenting them as your own. Yes, look at me. Shower with accolades. Bwahaha. It's alright, so
Hello.
all that he keeps going, but the point there is
My greeting.
he's whoever's writing this article is being silly. So the non-stricken point, the lesson of the day, is to create a cover which captures the feeling of playing your game as a visual emotion by following 1. Simple, striking imagery that 2. Conveys the core bullet points of your game, and 3. Removes anything else. And I don't know, like, this is kind of why I'm not an artist. Like, I totally need an artist, and I totally don't know how to direct an artist if I was. That's why if I did hire an artist for my channel and said, I need thumbnails for all the content I'm creating, so go make some thumbnails. That's about all I can say to him, which isn't very good direction in my opinion. So moving on. The 3,000 chance to win 3,000 card packs, I assume is over. I'm pretty sure it's over. They said it ended the 14th. So because of that, there's no real focus right now to get the daily quest done. Hearthstone has moved on, and they're showing off some of the most successful meta decks, like literally telling people how to copy these meta decks into their hand, which is funny because they've also got the copy code in them, so I could try to copy some of these into my main account and probably build these decks if I wanted to. Jade.
Colin's our girl's best friend.
Yeah, but I honestly don't want to just play other people's meta decks. That's something. Go to playhearthstone.com and look at their blog, and you can see that stuff if you want. But I'd prefer to make my own decks and do something different. Moving on, PC Gamer has an article that says Intel's latest graphics drivers automatically configure optimum game settings. One kind of assumes that this is in the instance of the Intel integrated graphics and not anything else, which is probably not what most people are using. Unless you have a laptop with no other video card at all. And if it is, you're probably not doing anything very demanding on it. The new driver adds a gaming icon in the driver's control panel. Intel notes that some functionality may be limited while in beta. Not all games are supported. The ones that work include Battlefield 1 and 4, American Truck Simulator, Call of Duty, World War II, Destiny, Dota 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, League of Legends, Overwatch, and World of Tanks. That is a kind of odd mix.
What to do?
Rather odd mix, honestly. Can I do anything here? Or I'm just gonna lose.
For the wild.
Much like the GeForce experience, any of these systems that try to detect if a game is running and automatically adjust these settings inside the game, they don't work great. We need a new standard, for fear of creating a new standard where all games put all of their settings in an INI file under the app data folder. It is always there. There's standard ways in which things are labeled, and every graphics driver from every creator knows what to do and how to get that to work.
What
To
all realities, all dimensions.
They'll never know what happened.
Job's done.
to adjust things. Personally, since I'm recording and streaming at the same time, even when GeForce Experience does optimize a game, it usually over-optimizes it to the point where things are too good looking, and I find it kind of a pain. It would be nicer if just all games auto-detected the settings that they think they needed to be, then asked you or let you figure out how to change it in game instead of out of game. Like, yeah, having a separate application doesn't make a lot of sense.
This one's mine. They'll never know what or
Job's done.
I've been following this Twitter feed for a website called TechSpot lately. I don't know if I'm going to stick with it, but apparently embedding tweets has been ruled by a New York federal judge as a copyright violation by a news outlet. Let's see. Embedding tweets, videos, or images on one's blog or website is pretty common practice. However, in the recent New York federal court ruling of it is any indication that seemingly harmless act may land you in quite a bit of trouble in the future. The ruling in question came after several news websites, including Times, Yahoo, Vox, and Breitbart, embedded a tweet containing a photo of the NFL player Tom Brady. So this is the NFL succeeding to try and expand its ridiculous claims of copyright. NFL in particular, it claims they own copyright to everything. The photographer responsible for capturing the photo, Justin Goodman, accused the new outlets of providing his exclusive copyright, an assertion that the judge presiding over the case has since agreed with. When defendants caused the embedded tweets to appear on their websites, their actions violated the plaintiff's exclusive display right. The fact that the image was hosted on a server owned and operated by an unrelated third party, Twitter, does not shield them from this result. And in a statement, the Electronic Freedom Frontier Foundation called the ruling a rejection of years of settled precedent, noting that it could easily extend far beyond mere tweet embedding to the realms of all inline linking. The foundation also said that the ruling, if it was adopted by other courts, could threaten millions of ordinary internet users with infringement liability. Let's see. Strangely, Judge Forrest repeatedly refers to the process of embedding as the act of a coder, which I suppose. In her ruling, she also implies hundreds of thousands of users who utilize the process have the understanding of programming languages such as HTML. Unusually wording or citing, this ruling is certainly concerning development for news outlets and blogs alike, as the EFF said in their statement. However, it's possible that the ruling could be appealed and ultimately overturned. That's pretty spooky. Like, if every time just a random Joe, and I do this all the time, is I get photos and post them on my Facebook, which is not even what they're doing. They're direct linking to the original image, is what the news people are doing. Yeah. That's one of the problems. A day in America, you're violating 1,000 laws because they're all written so archaically from such a long time ago. Moving on to the next story, which is more video game related. Eugene Systems developers are on strike after claiming violations of violation of rights. A group of developers from Eugene Systems let's see what I want to do. Get rid of this one. I could have gotten rid of that one actually. They're on strike citing labor law violations. Known for the War Game franchise, the French studio has confirmed that 21 out of the 44 employees, so a very small number of employees in the first place, walked out yesterday in protest over the management. They've been negotiating for nearly 15 months over several things, such as them being paid less than the minimum wage law, and them not getting back pay, and them not getting overtime. And
You like my invention.
the strike comes the day after Eugene Systems released Back to Hell, an expansion of Steel Division Normandy 44. It is true that the French in particular are good at striking, and so, but it does seem like they were trying to negotiate. This is not a situation where they went on strike for the tiniest insignificant thing. They're getting underpaid and overworked like so many other video game creators, it seems. It seems a little strange that all 44 didn't walk out. That's a pretty weak strike, honestly. But we'll see how this goes and if there's any more information about it. But it sounds good. Sounds like they're doing the thing that they feel like they need to do, and I would agree with them. After 15 months of negotiation. There we go. Well, I'm not going to have a ton of stuff to talk about, so I'm going to move over to the European account from here, and we'll come back. I'll probably come back in a post-game show, a post-show play, or maybe even tomorrow, trying to speed up this process. That's going to be it for this recording. Stay tuned if you're watching live. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. If you like what I'm doing and want to support me, gift me a game on Steam. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.